Jeep owners used to hand these trucks down to their kids. That was literally the point of the brand. Something happened, and the people paying for it are not sitting in boardrooms in Amsterdam. They are sitting in dealership waiting rooms with repair estimates they cannot afford on vehicles they have not finished paying for. This is the story of how one of the most trusted names in American automotive history was systematically taken apart, and what that is costing real owners right now. In 2026, to understand what went wrong, you have to understand what was actually there before. Because this is not a story that starts with a bad vehicle. It starts with one of the best. The original Jeep did not come from a marketing meeting. It came from the United States military in 1941. The Willys MB was designed around a single requirement: survive everything: mud, desert, rivers, mountain passes, active combat. It did. When the war ended, the soldiers who had trusted their lives to that machine brought the idea home. And over the next 80 years, every generation of Jeep was measured against that original standard. The Cherokee XJ, built from 1984 to 2001, is still cited by mechanics as one of the most intelligently engineered SUVs ever produced. Straight six engine. Simple, honest, repairable. These vehicles are on the road today, running without major intervention, because they were built to a standard that came from the military and not from a margin target. The TJ Wrangler, 1997 to 2006, built its own legend. The JK Wrangler, 2007 to 2018, pushed modern technology into a platform that still demanded traditional durability. The failure modes were known and manageable. The vehicles held their value because they earned it. Because when someone bought a Jeep, they were buying something they could trust with their life, in conditions where trust has real consequences. That is what was there before. It took 80 years to build. Keep that number in mind, because the speed at which it came apart is going to bother you. If you have owned a pre-Stellantis Jeep and a post-Stellantis Jeep, drop your comparison in the comments right now, because the gap between those two ownership experiences is the whole story, and I want to hear it from the people who lived it. January 16th, 2021 is the date that changed everything. That is the day Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and PSA Group completed their merger to form Stellantis. 14 brands, operations across multiple continents, a new chief executive, Carlos Tavares, who arrived with a very public mandate: cut costs, maximize margins, build efficiency across every brand simultaneously. On paper, that sounds like exactly what a corporation is supposed to do. In practice, it was the beginning of a systematic dismantling of the engineering standards that Jeep's reputation was built on. Not through a single catastrophic decision, through a series of smaller ones, each individually defensible, collectively devastating. So let me be specific, because this is not a vague story about corporate greed. There are three clear mechanisms driving what you are seeing in Jeep ownership data right now, and they all trace back to the same boardroom. The first mechanism is supplier replacement. Under the Stellantis consolidation strategy, long-standing relationships with component manufacturers who built to Jeep's historical specifications were replaced with lower-cost global alternatives. The wiring harnesses, the sensor clusters, the electronic control modules, the totally integrated power module that manages power distribution across nearly every electrical system in the vehicle. All of it sourced at the lowest available price on vehicles that Jeep's own marketing was simultaneously promising could handle river crossings, rock crawling, and conditions that would destroy anything else on the market. Here is the engineering reality that no marketing department will say out loud. Cheap electrical components in a vehicle that generates extreme heat cycles, absorbs constant vibration, and operates in moisture and mud do not just wear faster. They fail in ways that are difficult to diagnose because the failures are intermittent rather than clean. The component works perfectly at the dealership. It fails at highway speed. The dealer cannot reproduce it. The owner drives home and it happens again. That cycle is not random bad luck. It is a direct consequence of component tolerances that were never designed for what the vehicle demands. That is how you build a Jeep that breaks doing exactly what the brochure said it was built for. The second mechanism is parts consolidation. The same components now appear across Jeep, Ram, Dodge, Fiat, and Chrysler products simultaneously. When you design a shared component for that range of applications, you design it for the average use case, not for the Wrangler going through a river crossing, not for the Gladiator loaded to its rated payload on a worksite. The average of a Fiat commuter car and a Rubicon off-road machine is an engineering compromise that serves neither application fully. And the application that demands the most from that component is the one that fails first. A Fiat commuter car and a Rubicon are not the same vehicle. Designing them as if they are produces one result. The third mechanism is timeline compression. Vehicles were moved to production faster, testing phases were compressed. The failure modes that only appear after 20,000 or 30,000 miles of real-world use were being discovered by customers instead of engineers. The cost of that compression did not disappear from the budget. It was transferred directly to the person who signed the purchase agreement. The test program was short. The payment plan is 60 months. If you have been told by a dealer that your Jeep failure could not be reproduced, I want that in the comments, because the number of owners who have heard exactly those words on exactly the failures documented in federal records is not a coincidence. And knowing how widespread that experience is matters. And now let's get specific about what is actually breaking, because this is where the data stops being abstract. The most widespread and consistent failure category across post-2018 Jeep models is electrical. The Uconnect infotainment system has accumulated thousands of complaints in the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration database for random reboots, complete screen blackouts, and total system failures occurring during active driving. The 2018 through 2023 Wrangler JL alone has generated a complaint volume in the federal database that is statistically significant at its production numbers and consistent across multiple model years. But the screen going dark is not the most dangerous electrical failure on this platform. The totally integrated power module manages power distribution across nearly every major electrical system in the vehicle. When it fails on post-2018 Jeep models, and it has been failing at a rate that independent mechanics describe as a pattern rather than an exception, it does not fail quietly. Random horn activation while parked, fuel pump failure preventing the vehicle from starting, headlight malfunctions. In some configurations, complete power loss at highway speed with no prior warning. Replacement cost runs between $500 and $1,200 when caught early. When the failing module takes out connected systems before diagnosis, the bill grows considerably. One module, every major electrical system in the vehicle, one failure point. The 2021 and 2022 Grand Cherokee L launched with immediate and widespread electrical complaints from first-year buyers. Body control module faults, transmission software conflicts causing unpredictable shifting, over-the-air software updates that resolve documented fault codes while introducing new ones. Consumer Reports recorded the reliability rating of the 2022 Grand Cherokee 4xe at well below industry average within its first year of production. A flagship model, Jeep's statement vehicle for the new era, failing its first reliability measurement within 12 months of launch. Tell me something honestly in the comments. If you bought a Grand Cherokee in 2021 or 2022, how many times have you been back to the dealer for unscheduled service? I am asking because the federal database numbers are one thing, but the lived experience behind those numbers is something the data does not fully capture. The electrical failures are serious. The engine story is worse. The 2.0-liter turbocharged four-cylinder was introduced to the Wrangler as a fuel-efficient modern replacement for the 3.6-liter Pentastar. What it delivered in practice was a documented record of premature timing chain wear, oil consumption appearing well before the mileage at which it should appear, and in cases that move beyond form complaints into the federal database, complete engine failure before 60,000 miles. On a vehicle whose entire brand identity is built around long-term durability. Then, in late 2025, came the recall that removed any remaining ambiguity. Approximately 100,000 vehicles were recalled for manufacturing defects in this engine, with the potential for catastrophic engine failure or engine fire. On a vehicle with a 5-year payment schedule still ahead of it. And here is the move that, honestly, you almost have to admire for its nerve. Jeep introduced a brand new 2.0-liter turbocharged engine on the 2026 Grand Cherokee, positioning the new unit as the resolution to everything documented about the previous one. The question any experienced buyer should ask is straightforward. Where is the validation data? 6 months of production history is not a reliability record. It is a starting point. The buyers signing paperwork on a 2026 Grand Cherokee today are making a full-price financial commitment on a powertrain with no meaningful long-term history. They are paying retail to validate a fix that has not been tested in the real world yet. The 3.6-liter Pentastar itself, the engine that built Jeep's modern reputation, is producing different results in post-Stellantis manufacturing runs. Valve train noise appearing earlier. Rear main seal oil leaks with a frequency that traces to component sourcing changes rather than design changes. Cooling system failures in production runs using the same architecture as engines that previously ran for 200,000 miles without major intervention. The design did not change, the parts did. The Wrangler 4xe deserves its own section. This was Jeep's most ambitious product launch in a generation. Plug-in hybrid capability, electric off-road performance, lower fuel costs. The technology was real and the concept was genuinely compelling. The early ownership experience was not. Battery management system failures, triggering unexpected shutdowns, hybrid system malfunctions activating limp mode without warning on trails at intersections in situations where sudden power loss is not an inconvenience, but a safety event. Over the air, updates were deployed to address documented failures. Some improved the situation partially, some introduced new fault codes while resolving old ones. Dealers reported difficulty reproducing failures under diagnostic conditions, which meant warranty claims were not being generated for failures owners were experiencing consistently. If you bought a 4xe in the first 2 production years, I want your actual experience in the comments, not your opinion of the concept, your actual ownership data. Because the gap between what federal complaint records show and what the brand promotes is significant. And the only way to understand that gap is from the people who are living in it. Now, here is the part that Stellantis would prefer not to be a public conversation. When owners began arriving at dealerships with documented repeatable failures, Stellantis had 2 options. Issue a recall, which is public, triggers federal notification requirements, and permanently appears in the vehicle identification number history of every affected vehicle. Or issue a technical service bulletin, an internal repair instruction communicated directly to dealer technicians without automatic public disclosure and without the owner notification that a recall requires. They chose technical service bulletins repeatedly. Thousands of Jeep owners were driving vehicles with documented known failures, completely unaware that a fix existed in the dealer system because Stellantis had communicated that fix to service departments without informing the people who owned the vehicles. The complaint counter in the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration database remained lower than the actual failure incidents because a portion of the failures were being addressed through a channel that does not generate public records. And here is the tactic that appears consistently in owner account after owner account from this era. The failure could not be reproduced at the dealership. The failure that occurred twice last week. The one that has 40 pages of discussion in Jeep owner forums. The one that multiple independent mechanics have already identified as a documented pattern on this platform. Could not be reproduced under dealer diagnostic conditions. When failures cannot be reproduced, they do not generate warranty claims. When they do not generate warranty claims, they do not contribute to the thresholds that trigger recall action. The owner remains responsible for a repair that Stellantis has internally documented while being told publicly there is no recognized pattern. That is not a quality control failure. That is a decision. Here's a question worth answering in the comments. Did your Jeep dealer acknowledge a known issue directly, or did you have to push to get a technical service bulletin applied? Because the difference between those 2 outcomes tells you something real about how this is being managed at the ground level. And I want to know which experience is more common. So while all of this was happening in owner driveways and dealer service bays, what was happening at the top? 2021, Stellantis reported a net profit of 13.4 billion euros. 2022, 16.8 billion euros. Record margins, record executive compensation. Carlos Tavares was among the highest paid automotive chief executives on the planet, publicly celebrated for the efficiency strategy producing those numbers. The repair bills did not disappear from the system. The warranty costs did not disappear. The depreciation that began affecting Jeep resale values, documented in Kelley Blue Book and Edmunds data from 2023 onward, did not disappear. What happened is that these costs were externalized, removed from Stellantis's balance sheet and transferred directly onto the owner's financial position. They put it in concrete terms, a totally integrated power module replacement caught before it damages connected systems runs $500 to $1,200. A 2.0-liter engine replacement out of warranty runs $8,000 to $12,000. Infotainment system replacement, transmission relearn procedures, hybrid battery diagnostic work. Stack 2 or 3 of these on a vehicle 3 years old and carrying 60 months of payments, and the financial picture looks nothing like the one presented on the day the paperwork was signed. The savings Stellantis captured through supplier replacement, parts consolidation, and compressed development cycles were real. They were not Stellantis' savings in the long run. They were transferred to the people who trusted the brand enough to buy the product. Here is the chapter that did not exist anywhere until late 2024. The bill came due for Stellantis. Dealer inventory in North America reached levels that dealers had not managed in decades. Vehicles were sitting unsold at volumes affecting dealer cash flow and threatening relationships that had taken generations to build. Jeep sales declined in the United States market in ways that market conditions alone did not explain. The reliability reputation that had been treated as a capital asset to be drawn down was approaching a different kind of balance. In December 2024, Carlos Tavares resigned as chief executive of Stellantis. The company described it as a mutual agreement. The 2024 financial results told a different story from the record profits of 2021 and 2022. The efficiency strategy that produced those results was producing a different outcome by the 4th year. The new leadership inherited that outcome alongside everything else: public commitments to rebuilding product quality and restoring the engineering standards that made Jeep's reputation have been made. The question those commitments cannot answer is the only question that matters. What will the vehicles produced under the new priorities actually show in ownership data 3 and 5 and 10 years from now? That measurement does not exist yet. Do you believe Stellantis can actually rebuild what was lost, or is the damage to the brand permanent? I genuinely want to know where people land on this. Drop your honest answer in the comments, because the range of opinions I see on this question is wider than you might expect. If you already own a post-2018 Jeep, there are specific things worth doing before you need to do them under duress. Have your totally integrated power module assessed proactively. The failure pattern on this component is documented, and identifying vulnerability before cascading electrical damage occurs is significantly less expensive than resolving the downstream failures after the fact. Ask your dealer specifically about any open technical service bulletins on your vehicle identification number. Your entitlement to those repairs does not require a public recall to exist. If you own a 2.0-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, track your oil consumption with the precision you would apply to a commercial diesel. Premature consumption is an early indicator of the wear pattern that precedes more serious failure. Not inevitable on every example, but worth monitoring closely. Check your vehicle identification number at the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration recall database, not periodically, now. If you are buying, the most important variable is the model year, not the trim, not the options package, the model year. Pre-Stellantis era Jeep models, specifically the JK Wrangler with the 3.6-liter Pentastar, the WK2 Grand Cherokee with the same engine, and well-maintained XJ Cherokees represent a fundamentally different product than what the Jeep name is currently attached to. These vehicles were built to a different standard. Their failure modes are known and generally manageable. The market has not fully priced the gap between that reliability record and post-2018 production data, which may make the older vehicles undervalued relative to what they actually deliver. If you are committed to buying new extended warranty coverage on Stellantis products right now, is not an optional upgrade. It is a financial risk management decision that the ownership data supports making without hesitation. There is a reason the Jeep community is unlike almost any other automotive community in America. People do not just buy Jeeps, they build an identity around them. The rubber duck on the door handle is a greeting ritual between strangers on the road. The wave between Wrangler drivers is a recognition of something shared. Weekends planned around trails, arguments about lift kits and tire sizes conducted with an intensity most people reserve for things that genuinely matter to them. These are not marketing constructs. They are the organic product of a vehicle that earned the kind of trust that produces community. Stellantis inherited that community. They did not build it. The loyalty Jeep commands is the accumulated result of 80 years of vehicles that delivered what the brand promised. And the decision to treat that loyalty as a financial buffer to calculate how much product degradation the brand trust would absorb before it affected sales volume is the part of this story that goes beyond business strategy. Every person who saved for years to afford their first Wrangler. Every family that chose a Grand Cherokee because the badge had earned decades of trust. Every owner who believed that Jeep still meant what it said it meant. These are real people who made real financial decisions on the basis of a reputation that was being actively reduced at the same time. The brand equity that 80 years of engineering integrity built was treated as a resource to be extracted rather than a legacy to be maintained. That is the most accurate description of what happened. And the people who paid for that extraction are not hard to find. They are in owner forums, they are in dealer service departments arguing about warranty coverage on vehicles with 30,000 miles. They are sitting with repair estimates that represent a significant fraction of what they paid for the vehicle. I want to hear from you directly, not a general opinion about Stellantis or about Jeep as a concept. Your specific situation. What year is your vehicle? What has gone wrong or what has not? Because the data I have access to from public sources tells one version of this story. And owner experience consistently adds dimensions that the federal database does not capture. Both the failures and the trucks that have run without problems are part of the real picture. Stellantis in 2026 is not the same company it was in 2022. The leadership changed. The inventory crisis produced real consequences. Public commitments to rebuilding quality and dealer relationships have been made. None of that retroactively addresses the vehicles already in driveways with documented failure patterns. None of it changes the resale value trajectory. None of it pays the repair bills owners absorbed while the company was posting record profits. What the new direction might produce is different vehicles in the years ahead. Whether it does is a measurement, not a promise. That measurement is being accumulated right now in vehicles that left the factory in 2024, 2025, and 2026, and it will take years to read with any confidence. So the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration database does not have a public relations department. Resale value curves do not respond to executive announcements. The repair estimate on someone's kitchen table this week does not adjust based on what Stellantis intends to do differently. Jeep, before Stellantis, was a different product. That is documented, measurable, and visible in data any buyer can access before signing anything. What happens next depends on decisions that have not yet been tested or validated in the real world. Until that validation exists, the most responsible thing any buyer can do is base their decision on what the vehicles have actually demonstrated, not on what the brand is promising to demonstrate. The reputation took 80 years to build. We will find out in the years ahead whether what comes next deserves it.